Today, we shine a light on an often overlooked aspect of history, the sickening abuse endured by black male slaves at the hands of white women. This is a sensitive and distressing subject matter, so we approach it with utmost respect and seriousness. In exploring this distressing chapter of history, it is crucial to acknowledge that the topic we are discussing is deeply troubling and requires a sensitive and respectful approach. Slavery itself is a dark period in human history, characterized by the systemic exploitation and dehumanization of individuals based on their race. And this particular aspect of it underscores the complexities and layers of suffering that many enslaved people endured. During the era of American slavery, when we think about abuse and exploitation, the focus often turns to the brutality of white male slaveholders. However, it is essential to remember that the dynamics of power and abuse were not limited to gender or race. Enslaved black men, already subjected to the harsh and degrading conditions of slavery, were sometimes subjected to further maltreatment by white women, who held varying degrees of authority within the system. In an era defined by blatant racial discrimination and deeply entrenched systemic power imbalances, it is essential to acknowledge that white women wielded significant influence within the confines of their households. Within these domestic settings, they exercised authority over both the enslaved individuals living under their purview and their own immediate families. In the diaries and personal accounts from that historical period, numerous testimonies vividly depict a chilling tableau of the suffering endured by black male slaves, inflicted upon them by white women. These accounts stand as silent but powerful witnesses to the unspeakable atrocities that unfolded behind the closed doors of that dark chapter in history. White women frequently propagated the myth of black male sexual aggression, thereby stoking fear and, in turn, rationalizing their own dehumanizing actions. They perpetuated a distorted narrative that portrayed black men as an ever-present menace, offering a distorted rationale for the cruelty they inflicted upon them. One explicit goal of white supremacy was the protection of white women from black men, and many lynchings and race massacres had their origins in accusations about African American men and boys assaulting or accosting white women. White supremacists used the trope of innocent white womanhood to sway juries in the 1980s. Similar tropes have populated white extremist propaganda. Astonishingly, these women not only subjected black male slaves to emotional and physical abuse, but also shamelessly treated them as objects for their own personal gratification. Advertisements from that period shamelessly marketed black men as studs or breeders, underscoring the disturbing depths to which humanity can descend when we lose sight of our common humanity. In imagining white women as delicate and sheltered, some historians have claimed that they did not attend slave auctions or markets and had little role in the commerce in human bodies. This was not the case. Travelers, slave traders, city officials, and enslaved people all attested to the presence of white women in 19th century slave markets. Women also bought and sold human beings from their own homes, often within local social networks or from itinerant traders. Some did business as slave traders or fronted capital to men who did so. White women helped create a whole market in enslaved wet nurses. White mothers determined whether they could withstand the physical toll breastfeeding imposed upon them. Consequently, they were the ones who decided whether to borrow, hire, or buy an enslaved wet nurse, even if a man might finalize the transactions in the slave market. This allowed white mothers the freedom to pursue social lives or compensated for a physical inability to breastfeed their children. Some white women ran brothels staffed by enslaved people, and after the war, many white women negotiated labor conditions with freed people, trying to maintain control of African American children as apprentices. Slavery, a horrific institution that thrived on the dehumanization and exploitation of black people, left no one unharmed. Black male slaves facing incredible physical strength and stereotypes about sexual prowess